Trump, a Hamas prendeu reféns em Tubos Pequenos, Quase Sem. Uma análise profunda da crise humanitária em Gaza, focando na ajuda, reféns e responsabilidades internacionais.
Mr. President, back to Gaza. You talk about Hamas stealing food and stealing aid. What responsibility does Israel have for limiting aid to the region? And if I could ask a follow-up to the Prime Minister, what pressure can be put on Israel? Is that something that you and the United States could work on together?
Israel has a lot of responsibility. They're hampered by the fact that you still have 20 hostages or so. And the people of Israel are very concerned about the 20 hostages. It's very interesting. You could say they could be more concerned about retribution than the 20 hostages, but they really want the 20 hostages to survive and live to make it. You know, many of the hostages came to my office in the Oval Office, and I was amazed I would ask them the question, was there any sign of love? Was there any sign of, when you were a hostage and you have all of these people from Hamas around you, sometimes 100, sometimes 10, sometimes 2, but you're a hostage and you're being stored in a pipe. It's not even really, a cave, or it's a pipe, a little pipe. And some said they didn't think they were going to make it because they were losing air. There wasn't enough air, and they'd open up the pipe just in time, but they didn't do it on purpose. They just happened to open it. They got lucky. But I said, did they ever wink at you and say, like, don't worry, you're going to be okay? Did they ever give you some extra food, even if it was a piece of bread? Did they ever give you anything during that time? And some were there for 400 or 500 days now, right? It's a long time, a year and a half, more than that. And not one person said there was any love from anybody. In other words, you have hundreds of people. And you see it in the movies where somebody's a prisoner and somebody's helping. You even see it with Germany, where people would be let into a house and live in an attic in secret. You'd see signs of stuff. I said, did you see anything like, did they wink at you? Did they say, don't worry, you're going to be okay? I ask that question all the time. I've never received one answer that said, yeah, they really wanted to help. No, the hatred is just incredible.
So on the access to food issue, what more can Israel do? And again, to the Prime Minister as well.
Well, I think Israel can do a lot. I will say that Iran, I think, interjected themselves in this last negotiation. Can you imagine the beating they took? We wiped out their nuclear possibilities. They can start again. If they do, we'll wipe it out faster than you can wave your finger at it. We'll have to do that. We will do that gladly, openly and gladly. Iran's been sending out bad signals, I'll tell you. For a country that just got wiped out, they've been sending very bad signals, very nasty signals. And they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that. They were talking about things that they shouldn't be talking about. They were interviewed on a recent show, and the foreign minister saying things that he shouldn't be talking about, shouldn't be saying. And I think they got involved in this negotiation, telling Hamas and giving Hamas signals and orders, and that's not good. That's not good.
I would say, look, we need to get the hostages out. They've been held for a very, very long time, and we must always start from there. But also recognise the situation on the ground in Gaza is absolutely intolerable, and I think that certainly speaking for the British public and myself, seeing those images of starving children in particular are revolting, and there's a sense of revulsion in the British public at what they're seeing, and they know, and we know, that humanitarian aid needs to get in at speed, at volume. Yes, some can be airdropped, and we're working with others, with the US, with Jordan, on that, but the trucks need to get in, because that's the only way you can get the volume in. And we do thank the President for the work he's done to try to get to a ceasefire, which we desperately need, but also to put aid in to the region. There needs to be much more of that. We need to galvanise other countries in support of getting that aid in. And yes, that does involve putting pressure on Israel, because it absolutely, this is a humanitarian catastrophe now. We also need to look beyond that situation to what then happens in the event of a ceasefire, which is desperately needed. And that's why I'm really pleased that we're having a discussion about what a peace plan would look like after that, the component parts of that, and we have to be really clear at this point that Hamas can play absolutely no part in any future governance in Palestine, and and in Gaza, and it's really important that we're clear about what triggered this, who took the hostages, and calling out Hamas for what they are, which is a terrorist organisation. But I think today the focus has to be on getting that humanitarian aid in.